Hello everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. I'm excited to have you here as we explore the fascinating world of human migration. The title of our talk is Global Migration, and it captures a complex and ever-changing pattern that has shaped societies across the globe. Over the next few slides, we'll delve into what drives migration, the challenges involved, and the impacts it has on communities worldwide. So, let's get started and uncover the stories behind these movement patterns that define our world. Most nations today experience migration from all three perspectives, as countries of origin, transit, and destination. This creates a complex web of migration flows that can be quite challenging to manage on a global scale. Understanding these different roles helps us see how interconnected migration is worldwide. Currently, there are around 258 million international migrants. That's a huge number, and it's been growing rapidly since the early 2000s. This increase reflects changing demographics, advances in technology, and evolving labor market needs across countries. When we look at changing demographics, we see that people have always migrated in search of better opportunities, but also to escape persecution, conflict, or poverty. These movements happen all over the world, which makes migration a truly global phenomenon. All of this highlights how movement of people is a constant part of human history. It's a dynamic process that shapes societies and economies everywhere. So, understanding these patterns is key to addressing the challenges and opportunities of global migration. Migration, simply put, is the movement of people from one place to another. It can happen within the borders of a single country, which we call internal or integral migration. Or, it can take people across international borders, which we refer to as international migration. In this part of the presentation, I want to highlight that there are two main types of migration, and international migration itself can be broken down into 5 different groups. Understanding these categories helps us see the bigger picture of how and why people move, which is essential for analyzing broader social and economic impacts. So, as we go through this, keep in mind that migration is a fundamental part of human history and continues to shape our societies today. Immigrants come from a wide range of cultural, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds, and this diversity really enriches the communities they join. When we think about the makeup of immigrant populations, it's important to recognize that they're bringing a variety of traditions, perspectives, and experiences that contribute to the vibrancy of our society. Many immigrants leave their home countries in search of better economic opportunities, political stability, or simply a higher quality of life for themselves and their families. This pursuit of a better future is a common thread that unites people from all over the world who decide to make a new country their home. It's also important to understand what we mean by immigrants. They are individuals who move permanently from one country to another. This isn't just a short visit or a temporary stay. They establish a new home, often seeking citizenship or permanent residency, which signifies their intention to be part of the community long-term. All of these aspects highlight how immigrant populations add to the richness of our society, both culturally and economically, and how their stories are integral to the ongoing story of our nation. After completing their work contract or assignment, temporary workers typically return to their country of origin. They don't usually seek to settle permanently in the host country. Instead, their stay is limited to a predetermined period. This is a key distinction from permanent migrants, who plan to make a long-term or even permanent move. Temporary workers are in the host country mainly for employment purposes, often staying for several months each year to work. Once their job is done, they go back home. This fixed period of stay helps us understand the different dynamics of migration. These workers contribute to the economy temporarily, but don't intend to establish permanent residence. This concept ties into the broader theme of migration patterns, showing how different types of workers move and contribute in various ways depending on their intentions and the duration of their stay. Without official recognition, illegal immigrants often find themselves living in the shadows, which means they're unable to fully participate in the economic and social life of the country they're in. This lack of recognition can really limit their opportunities and integration. When we talk about undocumented existence, we're referring to people who don't have the proper legal status to stay in the country. This can create a lot of legal issues for them, making it difficult to access basic services like healthcare, education, or even legal protection. Now, these individuals are often here because they entered without the necessary legal documentation or authorization, which we refer to as unauthorized entry. Living without official recognition and proper legal status also means they face constant legal obstacles. They're living without the official acknowledgement that could give them more rights and protections. Overall, these challenges highlight how complex and difficult it can be for illegal immigrants to integrate fully into society. And it underscores why legal pathways and recognition are so important for both individuals and the communities they live in. Now, let's look at how families already living in the destination country can play a key role in migration. When families are settled, they often sponsor their relatives to join them. This not only makes the migration process smoother, but also helps newcomers settle in more easily. It creates a support network that can be very comforting in a new environment. A common reason for this type of migration is family reunification, where relatives are brought together after being apart for some time. Family-sponsored migrants benefit from this support system, which can be crucial for adapting to a new culture and community. Overall, family sponsorships are an important aspect of migration because they foster stronger community ties and help new arrivals integrate more seamlessly into their new home. This process underscores how important family connections are in shaping migration patterns and supporting newcomers. The international community has a crucial responsibility to provide protection and assistance to refugees, making sure that their basic human rights and dignity are upheld. When refugees seek asylum, they are looking for safety and security in another country, away from the threats they faced in their homeland. It's important to understand that refugees are individuals who flee their home countries because they have a well-founded fear of persecution. This persecution can be based on their race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion. These are the key reasons why refugees are compelled to leave everything behind and seek safety elsewhere. When we talk about fleeing persecution, we're emphasizing the urgent need for protection for these individuals, who are often vulnerable and in desperate circumstances. Recognizing and addressing this need is central to the overall theme of ensuring that refugees are treated with dignity and respect, and that their rights are protected throughout their journey and beyond. So let's take a look at the global picture for international migration in 2020. The estimated number of international migrants was around 281 million people. To put that into perspective, that's about 3.6% of the world's total population. What's really interesting is how this number has evolved over the last 50 years. We've seen a steady increase, with approximately 128 million more migrants in 2020 than we had back in 1990. This growth highlights how migration is becoming an even more significant part of our global society. It also ties into the broader theme of how interconnected and mobile our world has become over time. Remittances, as many of you know, are almost always primarily sent to high-income nations. In 2020, the United States led the way with a total outflow of $68 billion, making it the top sender of remittances. It was followed by countries like Saudi Arabia, Germany, Switzerland, and the United Arab Emirates. On the receiving end, the top 5 countries that received the most remittances in 2020 were India, China, Mexico, the Philippines, and Egypt. Notably, China and India stood out with inward remittance totals reaching $59 billion and $83 billion, respectively. These figures highlight the significant financial flows that are crucial for these economies. However, it's important to recognize that the World Bank points out some challenges in collecting this data. There are methodological difficulties, definitional discrepancies, and gaps in the data itself. Plus, the numbers we see don't include unreported transfers, whether through official channels or informal routes, which suggests that the actual amount of remittances worldwide is probably even higher than what current estimates show. So, understanding these flows gives us a clearer picture of global financial interconnectedness, especially in the context of migration and economic support. These remittance patterns are a vital part of the overall story we're exploring today. Today, I want to highlight the incredible impact of remittances around the world. Over 200 million family members rely on these financial transfers to support their daily lives. These remittances are often vital for families to meet basic needs and improve their living standards. What's really striking is that, in some countries, remittances can make up as much as 10% of the nation's GDP. That's a significant contribution, helping to boost economic growth and stability. And on a global scale, remittances reach over $500 billion each year. That's a huge amount of money flowing into economies, making it a key driver of economic activity worldwide. So, when we talk about remittances, we're really talking about a powerful force that supports families and stimulates economies across the globe. Migrant workers often send a significant portion of their earnings back to their home countries in the form of remittances. These financial inflows are really vital because they directly contribute to the economic development of those sending countries. When families receive these funds, they can use them to stimulate local economic activity, which helps create jobs and supports the growth of small and medium-sized industries. Essentially, remittances act as a powerful engine for economic growth, connecting the experiences of migrant workers abroad with positive impacts back home. This highlights how migration isn't just about individual opportunity, but also about fostering broader economic development in communities around the world. Remittances play a crucial role in shaping both the economic and social well-being of migrant families. When these funds arrive, they are often used to build or renovate homes, which directly improves living conditions. Families also use remittances to purchase consumer goods, making daily life more comfortable and convenient. Additionally, investing in education is a common use, opening doors for children to access better schooling and learning opportunities. What's really important here is that these financial flows increase the purchasing power of families, allowing them to improve their overall living standards. This not only benefits individual households, but also contributes to local economic growth. When families can invest in their homes and education, it creates a ripple effect, leading to stronger, more resilient communities. So, in the context of our overall theme, it's clear that remittances are more than just financial transfers. They are a powerful driver of economic growth and social development. They help uplift families and communities, fostering a cycle of improvement that benefits everyone involved. This slide raises some important concerns about the sustainability of economies that are overly reliant on migrant remittances. While remittances certainly provide vital support, especially for poverty alleviation, they also pose a question. Can such economies sustain themselves in the long run? We need to consider whether relying heavily on remittances is truly conducive to achieving balanced, long-term economic growth. Remittances do help lift many households out of poverty, which is a significant benefit. However, they might not have a substantial impact on other critical aspects of economic development. For instance, while remittances can improve immediate household consumption, they don't necessarily translate into increased investments or diversification of the economy. This raises concerns about economic resilience and sustainability over time. So, in the broader context of this presentation, it's crucial to recognize that while remittances are valuable, they shouldn't be the sole pillar of economic growth. For a truly sustainable future, economies need to focus on developing diverse, balanced growth strategies that go beyond dependence on external income sources like remittances. The loss of skilled personnel is a critical issue for the development, innovation, and progress of the sending countries. When talented professionals leave, these countries are left without the expertise they need to drive growth and ensure future advancement. This phenomenon is often referred to as brain drain. It happens when qualified professionals, and young, dynamic workers decide to emigrate in search of better opportunities abroad. While they may find better pay or conditions elsewhere, their departure can have serious negative effects on their home countries. This migration of talent results in a significant loss of critical skills that are essential for building a stronger, more resilient economy. Understanding this trend is important because it connects directly to the broader theme of global inequality and development challenges we're exploring today. When professionals, especially those in key sectors like healthcare, leave a country, it can seriously impact the sending nation's ability to meet the health needs of its people. This exodus can lead to a decline in overall well-being and affect the quality of life for its citizens. The loss of skilled workers, such as doctors and nurses, plays a crucial role here. These individuals are vital for providing essential services and supporting the development of the country. When they depart, the country faces real challenges in maintaining effective healthcare systems. Some countries experience a particularly significant brain drain in these critical sectors. The departure of these professionals can cause healthcare shortages and make it harder to deliver quality care. Ultimately, losing professionals in healthcare and other vital fields can create a ripple effect, leading to health crises and impacting the well-being of the population. This is an important aspect to consider when discussing migration and its broader implications for both sending and receiving countries. Governments play a very active role in the process of recruiting and deploying migrant workers. They often establish specialized agencies to help navigate the complexities of global migration, which is no small task. These efforts are crucial because the economies that rely heavily on remittances depend on how effectively these governments can manage the situation. If they can mitigate the negative impacts and maximize the benefits, it can really support economic sustainability. Now, when we look at the governments of sending countries, they face a pretty complex dilemma. On one hand, they need to create enough employment opportunities at home to keep their own populations engaged. On the other hand, they want to benefit from remittances sent back by workers abroad, which can be a major source of income. But there's a catch. Losing skilled professionals can weaken the country's development, and relying too much on remittances can create vulnerabilities. This balancing act is what I like to call the government's dilemma, trying to maximize benefits while managing the risks. It's about creating a sustainable migration policy that supports economic growth without undermining the country's human capital or becoming overly dependent on external income sources. This balance is essential because it ties directly into our overall theme of managing migration in a way that benefits everyone involved. Controlling and managing national borders is a major challenge for governments in today's world of global migration. It's a delicate balancing act. They need to ensure security while also making it as easy as possible for people and goods to move across borders. The goal is to do this efficiently and in a humane way, which isn't always easy. Developing effective immigration policies is crucial. These policies need to be fair, humane, and adaptable to the realities of migration, but that often makes them complex and sometimes controversial. Governments have to carefully navigate different priorities and stakeholder interests to come up with sustainable solutions that work in the long run. Another key point is that they must balance the needs and concerns of both origin and destination countries. This is especially important because migration affects economic, social, and political landscapes on both ends. At the same time, they have to uphold human rights and make sure security is maintained. It's a challenging dilemma, how to reconcile these often competing interests while managing migration effectively. This slide highlights just how complex and nuanced border control and migration management really are, and how they fit into the bigger picture of global interconnectedness that we're exploring today. Many migrants are forced to leave their home countries because of serious issues like armed conflict, persecution, human rights violations, or ongoing insecurity. These situations create dangerous environments that push people to seek safety elsewhere. However, the journey itself is often fraught with risks. Migrants may face abuse or exploitation by those who take advantage of their vulnerability. Trafficking is a real danger, and some migrants are detained or deported, sometimes unfairly, along the way or even once they reach their destination. This highlights how perilous the migration process can be, and it underscores the importance of protecting vulnerable populations. It also connects to our overall theme of understanding the complexities and challenges migrants face, emphasizing the need for compassion and effective policies to support them through these risks. As we look at this slide, the key point is that climate-related disasters and environmental degradation are increasingly pushing people to migrate. This isn't just happening within countries, but also across borders. And this movement of people can create serious humanitarian and economic challenges because communities often struggle to support and accommodate these displaced populations. Now, let's explore the concept of increasing displacement. When events like droughts, floods, or rising sea levels occur, they can destroy homes, farmland, and other vital resources. These are the very things people depend on for their livelihoods. As a result, many are forced to migrate in search of new opportunities and stability. This naturally disrupts livelihoods. Climate change can worsen existing vulnerabilities, things like food insecurity, water scarcity, or disaster risk, and make displacement more likely. When people move, they often face challenges in accessing shelter, healthcare, education, and job opportunities in their new locations. And all of this ties back into the overall theme of climate change's far-reaching impacts. Displacement due to climate change isn't just about moving from one place to another. It's about how it exacerbates vulnerabilities and creates new challenges for individuals and communities alike. Let's talk about some of the challenges migrants face when it comes to integrating into their new communities. Migrants often struggle to participate fully in civic life and to enjoy the rich cultural diversity around them. They might encounter discrimination, xenophobia, or social exclusion, which can make it harder to feel accepted and involved. This is a key aspect of cultural integration, feeling connected and valued in the community. Another significant issue is accessing social services like healthcare, education, and housing. Language barriers and a lack of information can make it difficult for migrants to navigate these systems effectively. If they can't access these essential services easily, it impacts their well-being and ability to settle comfortably. And then there's the challenge of finding decent work. Migrants often face barriers in unfamiliar job markets, and discrimination can further complicate their job search. Securing good employment is crucial for economic stability and social integration. All these factors, participation, access to services, and employment, are interconnected. They highlight how economic and social integration are vital for migrants to build new lives and feel truly part of their host communities. The complex legal landscape surrounding migration can often leave some migrants feeling vulnerable. Many times, protections are insufficient or unclear, making it difficult for them to secure their rights or access essential services. This is what we refer to as gaps in protections. These gaps can arise from restrictive or inconsistent migration policies or a lack of cooperation among different states. Additionally, gaps in international law can create significant barriers to legal and social integration for migrants. When we talk about restrictive policies, it's important to understand that migrants might face challenges in obtaining proper documentation, whether that's visas, permits, or other forms of legal status. They may struggle with regularization processes, seeking asylum, or acquiring citizenship, especially when their reasons for migrating, how they entered a country, how long they plan to stay, or their specific protection needs aren't fully recognized or supported by current policies. All of these issues highlight the importance of having clear and inclusive legal and policy frameworks. Without them, migrants are left navigating a confusing and often hostile environment, which can hinder their ability to fully participate in society and access the protections they need. This is a critical part of understanding the broader challenges migrants face and underscores why strengthening legal protections is so essential for promoting safe and humane migration. Fostering collaboration among states and stakeholders is absolutely crucial if we want to find sustainable solutions for the complex issues surrounding global migration. When we talk about cooperation and solidarity, we're emphasizing that these challenges can't be tackled in isolation. They require a holistic approach, one that respects the rights and dignity of all migrants. This means addressing the root causes of migration, like economic disparities, conflict, and climate change, while also working to ensure that migration benefits development for everyone involved. A comprehensive response involves establishing strong legal and policy frameworks. These frameworks help create predictable, fair, and humane migration systems. They also provide the legal basis for protecting migrants' rights and ensuring that policies are aligned with international standards. Connecting these points to our overall theme, it's clear that only through united effort, respect, and well-designed policies can we create migration systems that are just, sustainable, and beneficial for all. Let's talk about a very serious issue that affects many sending countries: human trafficking. This problem is a critical challenge that these countries face, and it adds to the already complex concerns about brain drain. Essentially, while countries are trying to develop and retain their talent, they also have to combat the darker side of migration, people being exploited and trafficked. The rationale behind human trafficking is driven by various factors, including economic hardship, lack of opportunities, and sometimes weak enforcement of laws. It's important to understand that this isn't just about individuals making risky choices. Often, traffickers exploit vulnerabilities, making it a systemic problem. So, in the context of our overall discussion, addressing human trafficking is crucial because it directly impacts the social fabric and the moral responsibilities of sending countries. Tackling this issue requires a comprehensive approach, one that protects human rights while also supporting sustainable development. Ensuring the safety and well-being of migrant workers is an urgent issue that we can't ignore. It really calls for a joint effort, involving governments, international organizations, and civil society groups working together. We need comprehensive policies and strong enforcement mechanisms in place to protect these workers from exploitation and abuse. Protecting migrant welfare isn't just a moral obligation. It's essential for building fair and just labor systems worldwide. Now, human trafficking is one of the most serious problems we face globally. It's deeply troubling and demands our immediate attention. To put it in perspective, the FBI states that it's the third largest criminal activity worldwide. That fact highlights just how widespread and severe this issue is, affecting millions of lives across borders. So, combating human trafficking must be a top priority. We have to understand that sending states, the countries where these workers originate, have a vital responsibility. They must safeguard the rights and well-being of their citizens who migrate abroad. This obligation is critical because it ensures that these vulnerable individuals are treated humanely and protected from exploitation throughout their journey and employment abroad. In essence, safeguarding the rights of migrant workers is a shared responsibility. It's about creating a safe, fair, and respectful environment for everyone involved. This aligns perfectly with our overall goal of promoting humane and equitable migration practices worldwide. Let's take a closer look at some alarming statistics. Within this group, about 22%, or roughly 4.5 million people, are enduring the horrors of sexual abuse. That's a staggering number that highlights the severity of this issue. At the same time, a much larger segment, around 68%, which translates to about 14.2 million individuals, are subjected to coercive labor practices. These practices are prevalent in sectors like agriculture, manufacturing, infrastructure, and even domestic work. Looking back to 2012, the International Labor Organization identified approximately 21 million people worldwide as victims of forced labor. This includes men, women, and children, an incredibly distressing figure. To put it into perspective, that's about 3 victims for every 1,000 people around the globe. Of these victims, a significant 90%, around 18.7 million, are exploited by private enterprises and entrepreneurs. These numbers underscore just how widespread and pervasive forced labor and abuse are, and they remind us why addressing these issues is so critical in our overall efforts for human rights and social justice. Human trafficking has proven to be highly profitable, and this slide really emphasizes that point. When we look at the figures, especially from 2014, we see that the syndicates, smugglers, and even some corrupt officials involved in this illicit trade collectively earned as much as $150 billion. That's an astonishing amount, and it really highlights just how lucrative this criminal activity has become. What's important to understand here is that the profits are not just a side effect. They are a driving force behind the persistence and expansion of human trafficking networks. This money fuels further crime, corrupts officials, and makes it incredibly difficult to dismantle these operations. Connecting this to the overall theme, it underscores the urgent need for comprehensive strategies that target not only the victims, but also disrupt the financial flows that sustain these criminal syndicates. Because, as we see, the potential for enormous profits keeps these networks going, making human trafficking one of the most profitable illegal enterprises today. The complexity of human trafficking is truly staggering, and it demands that we develop and implement innovative strategies to combat it effectively. This isn't just about applying the same methods over and over. It requires ongoing research, collaboration across sectors, and the adoption of new technologies and approaches. These elements are essential if we want to truly enhance the effectiveness of our anti-trafficking efforts and better protect vulnerable populations. As we've seen, governments, the private sector, and civil society organizations have all made dedicated efforts to fight this issue. But despite these efforts, the challenges we face remain significant. This highlights the urgent need for sustained and coordinated action, because tackling human trafficking isn't a one-time fix, it's an ongoing commitment. The persistent nature of this problem really underscores just how complex human trafficking is. It's not something we can solve overnight. It requires us to stay vigilant and to keep innovating our strategies. Even with collective action, the results have sometimes been inconsistent or fall short of what we hope for. That's why continuous innovation and collaboration are so vital if we want to make real progress. While collaborative initiatives have been launched to address human trafficking, the battle remains challenging. It requires ongoing dedication and unwavering commitment from all of us to effectively combat this complex and deeply rooted problem. Human trafficking is a highly lucrative criminal activity, generating substantial profits for those involved. This financial incentive makes it especially difficult to dismantle the networks behind it. The problem itself is staggering, with alarming statistics showing that millions of people are trafficked worldwide. Many of these victims are vulnerable migrant workers, which underscores the urgent need for continued action. So, as we see, despite efforts, the fight against human trafficking remains tough, but it's crucial that we keep pushing forward and stay committed to ending this injustice. As we come to the conclusion, I want to emphasize that global migration is a complex and ever-changing phenomenon. It has a deep impact on societies, economies, and individuals across the world. Migration results from a variety of factors, things like economic opportunities, political instability, environmental changes, and humanitarian crises, that all interact in intricate ways. Understanding these drivers is crucial because it helps us better address the challenges and seize the opportunities that migration presents. It's important that we prioritize thorough research and informed policymaking to manage migration effectively and ethically. Most importantly, we must always remember to uphold the rights and dignity of migrants. Their well-being is at the heart of any fair and sustainable response. In essence, by taking a comprehensive and compassionate approach, we can turn migration from a challenge into an opportunity for growth and mutual understanding. This aligns with the overall theme of our presentation, highlighting the importance of informed, human-centered solutions in a connected world.